Was God once believed to have a wife? Discover the ancient mystery of Asherah, a forgotten goddess once worshipped alongside Yahweh in early Israelite religion. Archaeological discoveries and ancient texts reveal shocking truths long hidden from mainstream religious teachings. Join us as we continue our series called Game of Thrones and the Bible. In this episode, we will be discussing God's wife, Asherah. The Bible never told you about her. What it doesn't tell you is what she was like and what kind of person she was. So get ready to learn more. Genesis chapter 2, verse 24 says that it is not good for man to be alone. Therefore, the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon the man. And while he slept, he took one of his ribs and closed up the place with flesh. Then the rib that the Lord God had taken from the man, he made into a woman and brought her to him. So here we see God commanding the creation of a female so that man wouldn't be alone. We also see that he did this by taking a rib from the man and forming a woman from it. It looks like the first woman was made out of Adam, or that they were created at the same time. When Adam met Eve, he said, "I will call her Eve, because she was the mother of all living." In Genesis 3:20, Adam named his wife Eve because she was the mother of all living. Some people have interpreted this to mean that she was the first mother in the world. But what if she wasn't the only mother? What if there was another mother before her? Why would God make another mother after creating Eve? So now let us take a look at some other parts of the Bible that talk about God as wife. In Exodus 20, verse 2, God spoke to the Israelites about their feasts and Sabbaths and all the things they should not do. He gave them 10 very important commandments that they must follow. If they broke any of these commandments, they would be punished. Verse 3 says that no other God can be put before him. He wants people to know that he is the only true God. No one else has this honor. He wants people to remember this and keep his laws. In Deuteronomy 32, verse 6, it says that when God gave Israel his laws, he made a king. But he didn't make a king over another kingdom, but he made him king by giving him authority over himself. In 1 Samuel, chapter 28, verse 6-7, the prophet Samuel was sad because the Israelites wanted a king. So God told him to anoint Saul as the first king of Israel. Even though Samuel was against the idea of having a king, God still went ahead with his plan. In 2 Kings 21, verse 6, it says that Manasseh did bad things like the nations around Israel, which made God angry. Verse 9 says that God will blot out the descendants of Israel just like he did with Ephraim, even though Ephraim is one of Joseph's sons. So here are some interesting questions. Who was God married to? Was it Eve or someone else? And why did God say he would erase the descendants of Israel like he erased Ephraim? In Judges chapter 12, verse 11, it talks about how Deborah, who was a judge, lived under the shelter of a tamarisk tree. In verse 13, it mentions a warrior named Sisera, who led an army against Israel. But God gave the victory to Israel, and Sisera was defeated by Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite. So here is another question. Did Jael kill Sisera, the general of the Canaanite army? How could Deborah live under a tamarisk tree and hear about Sisera's plan to attack Israel? How did Jael know where Sisera would go? To rest, and who helped Deborah defeat Sisera? We don't have all the answers to these questions. These are some of the things the Bible doesn't teach us. But if we dig deeper into the history of ancient Israel and the lands around them, we find stories about God's wife, Asherah. Let's read Exodus 23, verse 32-33. It says that the Israelites shouldn't worship any god that belongs to other countries. They should only worship the one true God. Verse 33 says that if any Israelite or foreigner living in Israel worships other gods, God will make that person and everyone related to them completely disappear from Israel. They will be cut off from among their people. Why would God threaten to get rid of the Israelites if they worshiped other gods? Were these other gods real or imagined? Where did the Canaanites come from? And how did they become so powerful? There are hints in the Bible that point to hidden secrets that are buried in history. God's wife, Asherah, played a big role in ancient religions in Israel and the Middle East. She was known as the Queen of Heaven. The Bible tells us about the gods that the Canaanites, Philistines, Egyptians, and other countries worshipped. But it doesn't say anything about the name or identity of God's wife. However, outside sources like archaeology and writings from other cultures give us more information about her. Asherah was usually shown as a woman holding two scepters and sometimes a flower. She was often carved on stone pillars and altars. Her symbols were a bull and a flower. People believed that she helped kings win battles and that her blessings ensured fertility. They thought she could protect and help people, especially women. She was seen as a motherly figure. Asherah was really popular. For example, in the Bible, we hear about a high place built for Asherah in Dan, and many people from Asherah's home went there to pray to her. Despite warnings from the prophets, King Asa allowed this practice and even made an altar for Asherah's statue. The people prayed there and made offerings. The Bible clearly shows that people kept going back to worship Asherah. Although the Bible mentions Asherah and describes the worship happening at her altars, it doesn't directly tell us who she is. This makes me wonder, if Asherah was so well known and so many people knew about her, why didn't the writers of the Bible explain who she was and where she came from? I think it is possible that there are secret parts of history that most people do and know about. The Bible writer might have wanted to hide this information from those who were trying to find out about God. Or maybe some of the information was lost when the Old Testament was translated. We may never know everything about Asherah, but we can find clues in different religious texts. In the Book of Jubilees, which isn't part of the Bible but was written around the same time, we learn more about Asherah and her connection to God. The book says that God chose Asherah before he made the world and that she was his partner. It seems like they worked together to make people and everything else in the universe. Another interesting thing mentioned in the Book of Jubilees is that Asherah had a son. He was the firstborn, but God passed over him when it came time to choose a leader. Instead, God chose another one of Asherah's sons, named Lamech, to be the first king of the earth. Lamech was given the title of the Most High. These stories raise a lot of questions. Like if Asherah was God's wife and they worked together to make the world, why did God let her son be the first king? And what happened to her firstborn son? Why did God pass over him when choosing a leader? Why does the Bible mention Asherah as the mother of kings and rulers if she isn't part of the divine plan? What is the meaning of the symbols used to represent Asherah, like the scepter, bull, and flower? How did ancient people see her? And what did they believe about her power and influence? As we look deeper into the past, we might find more answers. Maybe there are secret parts of history that can shed light on these mysteries. Discovering these secrets could change our understanding of ancient times and help us appreciate the rich tapestry of human history. As we keep exploring, we might uncover more information about Asherah and her place in the grand scheme of things. Thank you for watching this episode. If you liked it, please hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already. By doing so, you will be showing your support. Keep watching for new episodes and leave your thoughts and suggestions in the comments below. See you next time.